On the subject of tea, when I opened my parcel from Jeanette, as well as the daily advent calendars, she included some of this Yorkshire tea biscuit brew. And it says on the back, here's a miraculous tea that tastes like biscuits, because when those two flavours combine, the resulting deliciousness creates a wave of happiness big enough to power an entire human being. It's a magical mug of biscuity goodness that doesn't get crumbs on your jumper. It's horrible. I know some people swear by it, and thank you for sending it to me, Jeanette, but yeah, I did a blind taste test with Conrad, and yeah, no, I think I'll stick to the original. But you never know, maybe someone will like him. I'll take him to work. Hi everybody, and welcome to Vlogmas day 7 that I am sneakily recording on the 6th. One of the handy things about doing so much of Vlogmas in my day's gym jumper is that you never really know what day it is. I wanted to talk to you today just briefly about some books. I've always been a really big reader. I enjoy it very much. But in the last couple of years, well really, to be honest, since I started knitting, I suppose, I haven't read as much. I know that technically I could use my Kindle and just flick a page while I read, but that's too awkward. So I haven't read as much as I wanted to, but I've been trying to get myself back into it. One thing that's really helped is the Goodreads app. I think you can find people and be friends with them on there. I'm on Goodreads as BFG, if anyone's interested. And I like it because I can queue up books that I want to read. I can keep track of what I have read. I like the fact that you can get reviews on there as well of other people's thoughts and opinions on books. And it's also a really handy way if you're trying to remember what's the first in the series of something, you can go and find it on there. You can click on the name of the author and it's really easy to navigate. So I've enjoyed using Goodreads and it's certainly helped me get a bit more reading done. So I've got 4 books to share with you today, 3 of which I've kind of read and 1 is my current read. The first book that I finished reading is called All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, not entirely sure. And I think I first heard of this book from lovely Ali, who is Little Drops of Wonderful, and also This Little Wonderful Life on YouTube. She's a knitter and a crocheter and a podcaster. And she often talks about her books, and she mentioned this. And so I picked it up from my local bookshop just down the road from the gym. I think it's just called Albany Road Bookshop in Cardiff. It's quite small, so they don't always have what I want, but I do try and go there if I can. And it says on the front, winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. So that's got to be something, hasn't it? Trying to look up when it was published. First published in 2014. Oh, so it's not exactly new. So if I just read you the blurb on the back, it says, for Marie-Laure, blind since the age of 6, the world is full of mazes. The miniature of a Paris neighbourhood made by her father to teach her the way home. The microscopic layers within the invaluable diamond that her father guards in the Museum of Natural History. The walled city by the sea, where father and daughter take refuge when the Nazis invade Paris. And a future which draws her ever closer to Werner, a German orphan, destined to labour in the mines until a broken radio fills his life with possibility and brings him to the notice of the Hitler Youth. So, set in the Second World War, a young German and a young French girl, and it's really good. I like the fact that it's thick which might sound daft, but I don't like short books. And it was fascinating to hear a bit about the Second World War from the German point of view. I know it's fiction. But I really enjoyed reading it, and the descriptions were beautiful, and the way that the radio element plays throughout the story was really interesting. So yes, I can recommend that. This one was lent to me by one of my clients, Judith, and she's a great reader, so we often chat about books in between sets, and she lent me this one that she read as part of her book club, and it's called Summer Water by Sarah Moss. And the blurb on the back says, "It is the summer solstice, but in a faded Scottish cabin park, the rain is unrelenting. 12 people on holiday with their families look on as the skies remain resolutely grey. A woman goes running up the ben as if fleeing. A teenage boy chances the dark waters of the loch in his kayak. A retired couple head out despite the downpour, driving too fast on familiar bends. But there are newcomers too, and one particular family, a mother and daughter with the wrong clothes and the wrong manners, start to draw the attention of the others. Who are they? Where are they from? Should they be here at all? As darkness finally falls, something is unravelling." I never did find out what was unravelling because, oh my God. It's a short book, which doesn't encourage me to start with. And I got probably just over halfway through it and completely gave up reading it. The way it's written is very clever. So there's different cabins around this lake, different families or couples in each. And the first chunk of the book is about the first family, and then it moves on to the second family and the third. So I haven't got to the part of the book where their stories intersect yet. And I don't care. It's sort of, the way the story is told through each of these family groups is it goes into the mind of one of the characters, and it's like you're reading their internal monologue. You know, when you're going about your daily life and you're doing the washing up and think, oh, I wonder what I'll have for tea, and did I put the bins out? And isn't it funny how great Auntie Vi always does this? And my own life is tedious enough without having to read about everybody else's. So apparently Hilary Mantel says it's sharp, searching and utterly of the moment. But yeah, really didn't do it for me. I don't know if anyone else has read it. If you want to let me know what happens underneath. But yeah, I gave up on that. And then one of Dave's clients lent him a book. And the good thing about being lent a book is that it's often not something you would choose yourself. I think I've spoken before that sometimes my mum and I swap books. And my mum picks up slightly different sorts of books to me, so it's always interesting. It always gives me something slightly different to read. And this was a similar situation. So this is called Los Alamos by Joseph Cannon, who is the author of Leaving Berlin and The Good German. I don't know, I'd never heard of him before, but there's his book. Nice and thick. Dave really enjoyed reading it, but it took him months because he kept falling asleep because he was so tired. So on the back it says Spring 1945. As work on the first atomic bomb nears completion in New Mexico, Carl Brunner, a Manhattan Project security officer, is found murdered. Michael Connolly, the intelligence officer brought in to crack Brunner's case, soon discovers that investigating a murder in Los Alamos, a town so secret it does not officially exist, is anything but easy. Only when he falls in love and begins an affair with Emma, the enigmatic wife of one of the scientists, does he truly begin to unravel the dark heart of the project. Interweaving fact and fiction, Los Alamos is at once a powerful novel of historical intrigue and a vivid portrait of the most mysterious figures involved in the Manhattan Project, Robert Oppenheimer. So this is the debut novel by this man. He wrote Leaving Berlin and A Good German Later. So it's the very end of the Second World War, developing the atomic bomb, and a bit of a whodunit all in all. And it's set out in the desert, which I am, funnily enough, not very familiar with at all. So I really enjoyed the physical descriptions and some interesting characters, and you sort of, you get that sense of the impending doom of the Cold War at the same time, and also the bigger implications behind the Americans developing the bomb and what it meant for the future of warfare. So I enjoyed that. And then at the moment, I'm reading a lovely book called The Foundling by Stacy Halls, who also wrote The Familiars. I don't know if any of you have read that. Now, I'm not going to lie, I am frequently sucked in by a pretty cover, and look how beautiful it is. It's really lovely. I'm not very far into it. You can see where my bookmark is. I only just started a few days ago. And it says on the back, London, 1754. 6 years after leaving her illegitimate daughter Clara at London's Foundling Hospital, Bess Bright returns to reclaim the child she has never known. Dreading the worst, that Clara has died when in care, Bess is astonished to be told she has already claimed her. Her life is turned upside down as she tries to find out who has taken her little girl and why. Less than a mile from Bess's lodgings in the city, a rich young widow has not left her house in a decade. When she is asked to hire a nursemaid for her daughter, she is hesitant to welcome someone new into her home and her life, but her past is threatening to catch up with her and tear her carefully constructed world apart. Really good so far, really good. I do like a historical novel, and it's an interesting premise, the Foundling Hospital. So yeah, I can't fully review it yet. I'm only 60 odd pages in, but so far I'm really enjoying the characters and the portraits of 18th century London. I think what I need to do is have a bath. I struggle to get into a new book sometimes. I have so little time for reading that I often don't want to take a risk on a new book. So I will, if I'm not careful, I'll just reread previous books that I know I've enjoyed, because I've got a terrible memory. And even if I can remember the general gist of the story, I don't remember the outcome, or I still just really enjoy going back over it. It's like a comfort thing. I'll usually try new books by an author I've read before. That's not too much of a leap. But that's why I enjoy reading books that other people give me or that Dave can recommend, so I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. And again, going back to the start when I was talking about Goodreads, because it has sort of suggestions and things like that built into it, you can disappear down a rabbit hole of links clicking around and things like that. And it also has, like, if you make friends with someone, it has like a home screen. It's like a news feed, so you can see if people that you're following, what they've finished reading or what they've started reading and things like that. So it will often give me a nudge to try something new. Okay, well, I think that was a solid 12 minutes talking about books. I hope you enjoy watching this. Do let me know what you're reading. Leave me a comment down below, because yeah, I could do with a nudge, and I can always add a few new books to my list. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give me a thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.